The Annie E. Casey Foundation launched Making Connections in 22 cities more than a decade ago. Over time, the foundation decided to focus its efforts more deeply in 10 of those communities. Numerous lessons were learned in this place-based community change effort that had at its core family strengthening. Looking back, it is clear that Making Connections had and is having a tremendous impact on the foundation's current work and in the community change field as a whole.
Prior to Making Connections foundations, most foundations thought 10-year initiatives was a bold, new, unheard of amount of time to invest. We now know community change is a decade after decade work. Each initiative builds on the next, and I think it expanded our idea of what it takes if we're going to genuinely create pathways out of poverty.
The west side of San Antonio, Texas, was the largest of the 10 Making Connections communities. It had some of the same issues and challenges as other communities. It had strong ties to city government, and its residents had already begun to organize and mobilize around issues that concerned them.
What Casey helped us see and we were able to learn was our investment should buy outcomes and not fund agencies. And I think once we did that and once the city council adopted that, they saw their investments very differently. It wasn't about supporting A or B agency. It was about how do we buy the best outcomes to help our residents.
The importance of investing in resident engagement and leadership was a key element in all of the Making Connections sites, from Seattle, Washington and their Resident Leadership Council to Louisville, Kentucky's Walkers and Talkers. It also had a tremendous impact in San Antonio, Texas, where the Community Resident Leadership Training Program was created, providing residents with the necessary tools to give voice to issues of concern and to advocate for themselves.
They were the main voice at the table, and that was just part of the system that we didn't have before. So we were really working on systems change in terms of changing that doing for to walking hand in hand and working with.
When Making Connections came to San Antonio, community residents who are called promotores were already reaching out to their neighbors and assisting them in accessing resources that they might not know existed. As a result of the Community Resident Leadership Training Program, those promotores have gained additional skills and tools to help them in their work.
It just opens up doors because we are showing the parents that anybody can do it. You know, we started off as volunteers here. At some point you want a little bit more. And taking those kind of classes just gives you the confidence that you need in order to do something like that.
I think that the most enduring legacy is just that it provided that vehicle for us to articulate and to verbalize and actualize our hopes and our dreams.
The Neighborhood Place in San Antonio is a central location in a former school on the west side that houses a number of nonprofit organizations and resources that the community said they wanted and needed. As a result of the collaborations, the Neighborhood Place, managed by Family Service Association, provides a number of programs for children as well as adults, from dance therapy to ESL classes. It also provides free tax preparation with a special emphasis on reclaiming previously lost earned income tax credit dollars. Since Making Connections began working with San Antonio on its EITC program, the city has become the second largest free tax preparation program in the country, serving about 40,000 people and bringing back to the community close to $60 million a year. As a result of Making Connections, a more holistic approach to families evolved.
One of the real lessons that came out of Making Connections was the beginning of what we're now calling our two-generation approach to place-based development, in which we work simultaneously with parents and caregivers and their children, so their children are doing well, in school and thriving socially and emotionally, and parents are doing well in terms of accessing opportunity. That really started taking shape during Making Connections, and it's sort of the main lesson that's now influencing our next generation of work.
As part of its focus to improve education outcomes for children, the Annie E. Casey Foundation began to concentrate its efforts around grade level reading for all students in a number of their Making Connections sites. A result of this effort is the Campaign for Grade Level Reading.
We always have placed a focus on education, on teaching reading at a young age, but through some of the research that we were able to do and some of the things we were able to learn through this partnership, we realized how critical that third grade level was, and so definitely increased our emphasis there.
In the absence of that reading by the end of third grade goal, what we see and what we hear and what common sense tells us is that we'll have fade out, that kids, while they would have made progress, that progress won't be sustained or sustainable over time until we hit a particular threshold, and that threshold, the research tells us, is grade level reading by the end of third grade.
Making Connections began with a strong commitment to collecting high-quality data and learning from it to guide programming and policy-focused work. Funding was provided for data collection, analysis, and technical support, and local learning partnerships were created.
The types of collaboratives that were started by Making Connections, or at least promoted by Making Connections, also helped other organizations like United Way, but also the San Antonio Area Foundation, large organizations like Family Service Association, Catholic Charities, Avance San Antonio. These are all nonprofit organizations in our community that have learned and have experienced the opportunity to work with others and experience that spirit so much so that they now, those organizations now work together.
Making Connections, as I look back on it, had multiple lessons that affected Casey and the community change field. One of the largest, and I keep coming back to this, is the importance of focusing everything around a clear set of well-being results for children and families. We take that for granted now in the community change field, but at the time of Making Connections, no one had done that. And so to say, whatever else we do, it is about improving the life chances of children and families, and we will measure ourselves by that. That was revolutionary.
It's a very exciting time for the community change field as a whole. We see through efforts like Promise Neighborhoods, Choice Neighborhoods, a lot of investment at many levels, the federal government, in really taking thoughtful, comprehensive approaches to community change. Making Connections offers many lessons in that continued effort, and even the importance of housing, what hypermobility, instability in housing can do, not just to neighborhoods, but of course to individual people trying to put down roots and improve their outlook.
What we know now, what we only suspected then, was that the resident mobility could seriously undermine most efforts to change the trajectory of communities, and the failure to account for resident mobility, for the extreme resident mobility we find in many tough neighborhoods, will make it enormously difficult to succeed.
Lessons learned from the Making Connections initiative would prove to inform not only Casey's ongoing work and the community change field, but other funders as well.
We spent about 18 months thinking about how to engage in our own 10-year place-based initiative, Building Healthy Communities, and we spent a fair amount of time engaging the Making Connections team and staff, learning from their lessons. I think what we learned from them, number one, is place matters, and place matters in a powerful way in terms of health and well-being outcomes for children and families. Secondly, place is not just a place of distress. It's a place of assets, it's a place of leadership, it's a place of innovation, it's a place of ideas. And so tapping into the assets in those neighborhoods and those communities matters greatly.
We have to drive towards a set of results. We have to make sure that every dollar we're investing is really going to create a transformational impact on behalf of kids. And I think as the incoming president of the Skillman Foundation, that's my objective, is that I really want for philanthropy to show that you can name an issue and you can really drive results to change that issue for the better of low-income and disadvantaged children.
It's been a real incredible experience to have in the Making Connections influence here in what we've done. We've definitely impacted families. We've also impacted the school system, the community system. We're impacting the business system here. And so it continues to travel and it continues to work. So I think the legacy that it leaves has been tremendous and will be felt for a long time.